The narrative of Shaivism is a simple narrative. It begins with perfect cosmic consciousness, perfect, untrammeled, beautiful, perfect, joyous, abundant, vibrational joy, ecstasy, love, peace, light, wisdom, consciousness, Om consciousness, bliss consciousness. Begins with that, which we can call, if we're in a theistic mood, we can call God or Shiva, or if we're more Advaitic, we can say it's just pure awareness, the impersonal consciousness, but it begins with that. And the second chapter of the story is contraction, where the universe is formed out of the contraction of this original light. Why it happens, who knows? Nobody knows. If you see Shiva, you can ask him. But I think of it a certain way. I think he got a bright idea. Why don't I try to sport in separation? He's a little bored and he thinks, what games can I play? And so, because he's infinite and his mind is infinite and he lives in eternity, he thinks of all possibilities. And so somewhere in there, the great idea, let me sport in contraction. I know. I'll forget who I am, and I'll become a weak, puny little human being. And I'll completely forget who I am, and I'll see if I can wake up. And I'll go through many lifetimes of complete ignorance and stupidity, very far and totally hopelessness. All the time it'll be okay, because I know what's in the last reel. Everything works out all right. But this is what's going to happen. And then eventually somehow I'll get myself back. Well, what I'll do is I'll wander along in a complete stupor, trying everything, testing like a rat in a maze. And this is the ordinary life of suffering and stupidity, not having a clue about what anything's about, thinking if we just get a little bit of pleasure, a little bit of money, a little bit of security, a decent job, crust of bread, perhaps a croissant, a little cappuccino, get a nice car, and they'll be all right. And why? We don't have any evidence for it, but everybody says that's the way it is, so we do it. And then we discover that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and this doesn't work. There must be something more than this, and so on. So finally we come to the third part of the story. First part is consciousness, second part contraction or maya or ignorance. The third part is we discover that we need to get back to our original condition. We awaken to the need for spiritual development, for sadhana. And all of us here have gone through that phase. And when you're a serious spiritual seeker and you meditate and so on, you look around and you discover that most of the world's not interested. Isn't that true? Most of your friends and family don't have a clue what you're on about, and this is the way it is. Why is it like that? Let me tell you. No, it's like that because that's the stage of spiritual evolution that we're at. There will come a time when there's more and more movement towards the light. In fact, I think there are early warning signs of it. Do you see that? Did anybody see that? I'm just a reality check for me. Maybe I'm too optimistic. Because I've been teaching meditation for 30-odd years. And it seems to me that more and more people are becoming interested in the inner path. There's more mysticism. The religious figures I know are suddenly more interested in the mystical aspects of their religion. People are turning to the spirit. It's not like a landslide, but it's a movement. It's a trickle. It's a gurgle. It's a burble. It's a bubble. That's what I say. And one day, because consciousness and light underlies it all, it can only go back to the light. So we may be few now, but we're on a winning team. Eventually, now you could argue, is it better to be on an ignorant and stupid a winning team that will lose eventually, or a really smart team that's very small and weak but will win eventually? Which is better? You could argue either way. But however you argue, here we are. Once you're awakening, there's no hope for it. Very hard to go back to sleep.